Welcome, 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 my client acquisition and scaling family. Happy Monday and welcome to our Monday mindset. This is the place to be every single Monday, if for no other reason, to feed your mind, to get in the right mindset for the rest of the week. This call helps me do exactly the same thing. And remember, in order to change your business, we have to change our minds. We have to change the things that haven't been working in the past and find things that can work for us now. So if this is your first time, welcome, and type first in the comments for me. And I have the comments right up here on a different chat so I can see it. And then also, if you want SMS reminders so you don't miss a Monday mindset, type SMS in the chat and we'll send you a link where you can get on the SMS list. We don't bug you. The only thing we send those for are reminders. We don't send out spam or anything like that. So they literally are for reminders. So for my new folks, I don't see a whole lot of new names here, but just in case, my name is Lisa Parziale. And today I'm going to be talking about business strategy and why you need a strategy in order to succeed and what that strategy is. So let me ask you something. Everyone here on the call, and if you're watching the replay, please play along. Do you have a business strategy? Do you have a business strategy? Yes or no? And if you do, is it clearly defined and written down with measurable goals? Okay. So, and don't be embarrassed. Don't worry about if the answer is no, you don't have strategies and you don't have goals and that kind of thing. The cool thing about being a part of this group and our programs and just being around like-minded business owners is you own where you are today. So that way you can get to the level you want to be tomorrow, right? There's no embarrassment. I tell my stories and I tell you where I was in life, not to say, hey, look, I screwed up, but to help you feel okay that if you've screwed up, so what? We all did. It's natural. None of us are probably Harvard business grads, and even they screw up. So if you have a strategy and it is clearly defined, definitely write yes. Yeah, so let's see. David said, no, not to that level. So you have a strategy, but it's probably not clearly defined and written down with measurable goals. Got it. Kathy said, have goals, not firm strategy yet, right? Goals are just dreams until you strategize, put them down in writing, make them measurable, and add a timeline to them. So we're going to talk about that today too. Cliff said, ongoing effort to accomplish with clear definitions, 100%. Annie, working on it. I know you are, Annie. Annie's in our program. And so in our program, we do work on those things. So I know you are. Fantastic. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, that type of strategy. So if you're watching the replay, I do want you to play along. I want you to type yes or no if you have clear goals, clear strategies, and play along with us because somebody will reach out to you and send you what you need and that kind of thing. We have tons of replays we can forward to you and show you kind of a little bit about what we're talking about. So today, what I want to do is talk about creating a success strategy for your business. Now, we're not going to have time, obviously, to teach you all of that. That's why we have programs. However, we first need to change your mind, right? We need you to understand that without that clearly defined strategy with measurable goals that are set to timelines, we're just not going to get the success we want. How do I know that? Because I did not have clear strategies when I started my business. In fact, you could probably say I was flying by the seat of my pants. Isn't that what we all do? But it became very evident very quickly that something was wrong because I started stumbling and I failed. And, you know, I knew what I was charging for my products and I knew how to bring in customers. So at first I thought, man, this is going to be easy. It's going to be like printing money, right? This is going to be so easy. Yeah, that was a rude awakening very quickly. as I stumbled and failed to reach my goals. Now, while I thought about my goals, and goals is the key words here, I actually had goals. I used to think about how much money I wanted to make, and I used to think about how I was going to spend that money when I made it. But in the beginning, that's all I had. And then I might have had some goals like, I want to sell this much a month. Maybe I want to make 20K a month. But again, they were just thoughts more than they were goals. They were just what I wanted. They were wishes. They were dreams. And I never actually wrote them down. I physically did not have a strategy, a plan, or any kind of process that I was going to follow to get where I needed to go. And that meant I was going to fail. I was going to stumble, because without measurable goals, it's like your success is just out of reach. You can see it, and you can taste it, and you can almost feel it. But for whatever reason, you just can't grab onto it. My first year in business was 2011. I started the business at the end of the year, and we made a whole $1,500 that year. Now that year, I didn't even think I tried. So the next year I thought, I'm gonna break $100,000. This is gonna be easy. I didn't the first year, because I didn't know what it was gonna take to do that. It's about that time that I started buying into some programs and started getting educated on what I needed to do for a business. I had a long journey ahead of me to get to where I am today, but that was the start. In the second year, I literally had a strategy and I had a plan. And I went from making somewhere around, I think Colette and I made somewhere around 89,000 that first year in business, which, hey, I don't think is too bad for your first full year in business without a strategy, without a plan, and not knowing what the heck I was doing. To the second year, and I don't know the numbers exactly, but they're 200 and some odd. I don't know if it's 40 or 80. I couldn't tell you. I could go back and look, but it's not important. What's important is the minute I started strategizing, creating goals that were measurable, attainable, and had timelines, I started reaching those. So when you hear me today talk about business strategy, that's what I'm talking about. And that's what I want to illustrate to you today. I want to show you live with at least one, maybe two volunteers, how easy it is to create a plan, how easy it is to get started with that plan. Okay. So I had a couple people say yes, but nobody actually volunteered. And I'm looking at the names here, and I know there were some people that I've already talked to, but if anybody would like to volunteer in the chat and you're selling SEO, web dev, or something that I know, that would be best. David Castle, come on down. Go ahead and turn on your mic. And go ahead and turn on your camera. Let's make sure we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Can't hear you? I can hear you anyway.
Let me double check.
I wonder if it's my sound.
I should be.
Can everyone hear David? And it's just me.
Let me double check what.
I can hear him. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. What I'm guessing is my sound is out in my AirPods that are in the other room. So how do I turn the sound off and go back to my regular sound? Let's see, sound. There we go. All right, there we go. I can hear you now, Dave.
Okay, and you just clicked too, so something happened at your end, so we should be good to go.
Perfect. Yeah, my sound was out on my AirPods in the living room. It was screaming out there. Perfect. So
okay, no nerves, no nerves here.
No nerves. And hey, look I think David is amazingly smart, right? He's going to be on a Zoom call. He makes sure to put the name of his marketing company and a nice little QR code up there for people to scan. That's a great, cool little thing if you're sitting on any kind of meeting with a client or things like that, or even in something like this. Awesome. So here's what we're going to do live. What I want to do is we're going to, you've heard of speed dating, right, David? You've heard of speed dating. So
Yes.
this is speed strategy is what we're going to do today. Okay. And with you up there and with you guys watching, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up and share my PowerPoint, if I may. And you guys let me know that you can see that.
We can see it.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little speed strategy with David. Okay. And so why I'm doing this is I want you to see how easy this can be. So we're just going to call this our speed strategy. So David, give me one product that you sell today as a service or
search engine optimization, SEO.
SEO. Okay. And how much do you charge for that service, David?
Nowhere near enough. That's ironically, I'm actually trying to figure out how to reach out to a customer who's late on paying me. I only charge them $1,200, and when I wrote out everything, all the services that I'm providing and what I think are real world prices, I should be charging them close to $8,027 regardless. So let's say $1,500.
All right. So we'll say $1,500 on average is what you'd like to charge for SEO. Obviously, you want to charge what the service is worth. So if you get that kind of money, you don't want to over deliver for an undercharged service. So you're clearly going to have to figure out what that means.
And I also want to know what their cost per acquisition is. What's it costing them for a client? How much do they get from a client? So it's a sliding scale, but let's just say.
Yeah. 50. And we're not going to talk about how to sell it or anything like that. Right now, we're just going to say, okay, SEO. Is there something else you might sell?
Let's say pay-per-click advertising.
Okay. And what is your fee on the pay-per-click on average that you'd like to make?
Let's keep it easy. Let's say $1,500.
Okay. So if they're going to pay you $1,500, I'm guessing they're going to spend
about $500 or so.
So they're going to pay you $1,500. So what is your fee? Not the total, what they're spending with.
Okay. So let's say, that's a good question. So this is part of the strategy here. So I'd say $1,000. What's realistic?
It depends on what they're going to spend, right? So typically you want to get in the habit of wanting 20% for pay-per-click. And so if I'm going to charge $1,000, I'm probably going to want a $5,000, spend with Facebook. Now that doesn't mean that's exactly what they're going to spend, but nobody's going to pay you $1,000 to spend $500 on Facebook.
That makes perfect sense. I love that.
Yeah. So you're looking for customers that are willing to spend $5,000, and either you're taking $1,000 of that $5,000, or that's on top of the $1,000. But that's a reasonable spend to charge or $1,000.
So happy I volunteered. This is great.
Yeah. So and right now all we're doing is we're just strategizing. In this case, we're strategizing about David's services, what he wants to make for what he's doing. And again, this is speed strategy. So I'm going to quickly move on and say, okay. Website, right? So now you're going to create a website. What do you charge for website design on average?
$3,000.
It's a good number. Now, is that what you'd like to charge?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever charge more?
If it's like a 25-page website, yes.
Okay. So 3,000 is a good number. It's a pretty solid number. You have to get there. Okay. Now I'm not going to ask you to go back in history. I want you to go forward in time.
Okay.
We're in July, nearing August. Let's pretend we're going to create this strategy, and we're going to say a year from August 1st. A year from August 1st. How much money would you like to make in 1 year's period?
I think when I have everything in place, that 100K is not a challenge.
Not a problem. So, and again, we just wrote it down. So it went from being a dream to a goal. And it went from a goal to actually a strategy when we said 100,000 within 1 year, because now we have a measure to put against that. If we just say we want to make $100,000, what does that do for us? Not a whole lot, right?
Right. It's just another wish I would have.
It's just a wish someday, somehow.
Right.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to back into that number, David. So $1,500 a month. If you can get a customer to pay you $1,500 a month, I don't know if you realize that or not, but that actually equates to $18,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to strategize and say, if I got 3 new SEO customers, what am I making? Somebody multiply 3 times 18.
I do this all the time. 5,400.
54? We both came up with it at the same time. So if you guys saw, I was counting my numbers in my head. I'm horrible at math, but I'm great at money. Okay. So we could crush half of that goal, half of that strategy with 3 SEO clients. Does that goal seem as daunting anymore?
No, not even close. It's embarrassing. It's so simple.
Yeah. So now we just have to find 3. But let's say you look at that and go, oh, pay-per-click is easy though, right? But notice $1,000 a month is still a respectable, right?
Mm-hmm.
12K a year.
Yep.
That's still not bad at all, right? And we'll just put 12K up there. We'll spread this out a little bit. And then websites are 3,000 each, right? So right here we have recurring, not recurring.
Got it.
So many people focus on the easy. Oh, it's easy to sell a website. But you have to sell. So in order to make one SEO client to make the same amount of money, $18,000, how many of these do you have to sell? 6, right?
Yeah.
So you have to sell 6 of these to make 18,000, just one 18,000.
Right. You
only have to sell 1 person into SEO. So that's the kind of stuff I want you guys looking at. I want you thinking about it. I want you strategizing, saying, well, it's a combination, right? So we're going to go ahead and how many pay-per-click do you want to get? Well, maybe we say we'll get 3 of those, right?
Mm-hmm. Quick question. Have you ever offered like a $3,000 website on a monthly basis? Like $250 a month?
I can't have that whole conversation with you, but yes, that's actually a model I'm moving towards. And
okay, that's all I wanted to know.
We actually teach a lot of that quite a bit because that's where everything's going. But yeah, you could do that. It doesn't matter. Again, this is your strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this however you want to do it. And so when you think about this, when you think about now we've sat here and we've got $80,000 of that 100,000 take care of with 6 customers. 6.
I love this. Yeah.
And all we have to do is go find 6 customers in a year.
Right. And
the rest, when we think about 20,000, how many, this is literally less than, but we'll put 7 websites is all we'd have to do, because 3,000 times 7 equals 21,000. And you just over delivered by $1,000 on your goal. Hard?
No.
But remember, when you say, hey, I want to make 100 grand. Okay. How are you going to do it? What is the exact strategy? Anybody feeling this? Put in the chat. I mean, is this making sense to you guys? Any ahas? Any like, wow, this is so easy? Because I'm not brilliant. Trust me. This is the kind of stuff that I had to learn to say, go from 80-something thousand my first year to 200 and change the second year. And I think the third year we hopped up to 380 something. The fourth year we were at 480 something. I mean, we just kept going better and better, not because we wished it upon ourselves, but because we strategized. And you've heard me on other calls say I was held back by the fact that I didn't hire. I did all that as a one-man person with 1 web dev. I really struggled to really get my business going, right? So that's the kind of stuff you want to think about. Thank you, David, for playing on our speed strategy call today.
Thank you for opening that up. I really
got it. And I'm going to upload this so y'all have it, and can play with it. Anybody else want to volunteer and tell me your goal? Maybe it's a bigger goal. Maybe it's a different goal. Maybe it's different stuff. Anybody else want to volunteer? Kathy said, let's see. What do we got? Dale said, awesome. David, all ahas. Kathy, yes, good refresher. Definite aha moment. Can put K after 12. Yeah, there you go. I'll put that for you. And then we'll just be consistent, right? I like consistency in my life. So there we go. And then 54,000. Oops. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but you guys get the idea. Kathy, lesson, write it down. Don't just write it down, Kathy. Make it measurable and put a timeline on that measure. So with David, realize we said, okay, 100 grand within 1 year, starting August 1st. August 1st, the clock ticks. Why did I give him till August 1st? Because he has 6 days to literally come in here and add, right? And let's see, total is 111,000. Is it 54, 60, 70, 84, 90? Yeah, you're right. Boo. Look at us. We didn't need 7 websites. What did we need? We only needed 4 times 3 for 12,000. Is that all we needed? Gosh, this just got easier. What does that make our number? Guys, help me with the math. You have calculators. I just have my brain. So let's see, 54, 64, 66, 72, 82, 92, 102. All right. So the actual will be 102,000. Boom. We over delivered. So it even got easier. We only needed 4 websites. And that's a great illustration, because what you can do here is we could literally come in here and play with these numbers. Maybe 3 SEOs and 3 pay-per-clicks is a little aggressive for you right now. Maybe you've spent the last 3 years and you haven't landed 1 SEO client. So maybe you want to change this to 2. Well, then up your websites. Maybe you want to change this somehow. Excuse me. It's your strategy. You have to create the strategy that you feel good about, that you feel best with. You know, you guys know I talk about my programs a lot. In our first program and in our X Success program, we have this awesome calculator where we put numbers in and we play with those numbers, and it's projecting everything. But it also takes out costs and what we're paying people and staff and sales. And it's a really good calculator, because it, in fact, allows us to see, what do we get to take home? The problem you're going to try is you're going to try to make this all by yourself. And that's why you might struggle to make it. So if that's you, go back and watch some of the previous Monday Mindsets. If you're not sure which one, reach out and say which, and I will go find it for you, whichever one you're, struggling with, and we'll send that to you. But a strategy didn't have to take a week. We did it in less than 10 minutes. David now has a strategy. Now, does he have a plan or implementation? No. And that would be our next step. But today, what I want you to take away is you're taking away the fact that creating that strategy is step number 1. So any other volunteers? If not, I'm going to go ahead and keep going, and we will close the call a little early. I think you guys got the idea, but if anyone else wants to strategize, the folks that volunteered on the actual client acquisition and scaling Facebook group are not here, so I can't necessarily ask them questions. So last call, you can just type, volunteer. If you do want to volunteer, we can do the same thing with you. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on going. Here's some final thoughts on David's strategy. I would work my butt off to do this as soon as possible. And when I reach this goal, for example, if I reach 6 or 7 websites, the type of person I am, I don't bleed from my other goals. And what I mean by that is, let's say David by month 8 had 7 websites, or did something in a way that he was going to reach his goal, but he wasn't going to reach these goals. Don't quit. Don't settle. Life's too short to settle, if that makes sense. If you still had 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever months you have left, hyper focus to get what you said you were going to do. And maybe you stop worrying about websites so much and you stop selling those and hyper focus on selling the SEO or selling the pay-per-click. Because as you can see, websites, they might be easier to sell, I should say, but they're work just like anything else. And SEO is work. But when you have, again, a plan, an implementation strategy, it's not as hard to sell, and it's definitely not hard to do. People ask me all the time, Lisa, do you think SEO is difficult? Nope, I don't. Do you think Google's a pain in the ass? Nope, I love Google. Because without Google being so difficult, changing all the time, we couldn't command $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month for what we do on a recurring basis. I love Google. Keep changing Google. Keep making it harder and harder, because as a company, we will go out and do what it takes to figure out what works. And then we create a plan, a strategy, and we implement that. And frankly, SEO becomes easier and easier the longer I'm doing it. David, I'm not settling. Don't. David, I'm going to mark my calendar for a year from August 1st. And I'm going to check in with you. So know that. Now you have somebody who is making you accountable. I'm going to check in with you. By then, I'm pretty sure you'll be in one of our programs and we'll be checking with you on a regular basis. But if for some reason you fall off and you don't, I will check in with you. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. That's what I wanted to show you guys today. I am going to just kind of talk about, the next step. So now that David has a plan, or now that you have a plan and you've created that plan, now what? What's next? Where do you go from here? Well, sometimes success can come a lot easier when you have a step-by-step program. And you guys know, you got your nugget today. I'm always going to give you nuggets, but I'm always going to talk to you about my programs. And the reason I do is because I am proud of what we are able to help our students accomplish. And using a step-by-step program, we step through everything from creating that belief in your head, through creating that plan, executing that plan, and learning everything you need to know to reach those goals. It's essentially a guide to help you along the way. And having somebody in your corner to say, hey, what are you struggling with? How can we help you? That's why we created that. I struggled for years with no one person that would help me do everything because nobody had that. And that's what we tried to create. Have we hit it on all cylinders? Maybe not, but we're certainly well on our way. So on August 17th, as you guys know, that's why you're hearing a lot about it. After August 17th, we'll go back into our normal routine of just giving you some information, saying thanks, and kind of going back. But right now, on August 17th, we are starting our brand new Agency Fast Track X Success program. We already have multiple seats sold, but we have plenty available, right? We allow 50 people in that program. We do not have 50 people yet, but in a week or two, we're actually doing some joint ventures with some other people that are going to sell into the program, and those seats will fill up fast. So that's why in this group, we like to talk about it first. You guys always get first crack, first shot at actually joining that program. Now, if you don't know about the program, I'm not going to sit and tell you about it today. What I want you to do is instead, in the chat, raise your hand and type the word strategy. If you haven't met with me personally yet, and you have not received a strategy call like what I just did with David. David and I have done one. So he was a good person to do it with, because I didn't cheat him, so to speak. Him and I have had strategy before. However, if you haven't had a strategy call with me yet, what I want you to do is type strategy in the chat. If you're watching the replay, I want you to type strategy in the comments, because what I want to do is make sure we have a solid strategy, make sure our program can actually help you. Make sure it's right for you. I don't want you to just buy a program and not know if it's going to help you. I want to know. And I'm not there to sell you the program. I'm there to build a strategy for you. And then it's up to you. You can run off and work it yourself, or you can come and join our program and we can help you strategize. Remember, the first things we deal with in our program are the first things you've had to deal with, I'm sure. False beliefs, the stuff holding you back. Why aren't you writing things down? Why aren't you doing things? Why aren't you hiring? Why aren't you moving forward? Then we start talking about the strategy. What is the X? That's what X success stands for. What is it you want? David wanted 100K. Maybe you want 200, 500, a million. We have students reaching those numbers, all of them. We have one student right now who went on to our second program and the next goal is $5 million. And I'm pretty sure he'll achieve it. And if you're thinking, wow, how long does it take? He set his goal. I think it's 5 or 7 years away, but that is his goal, $5 million in 1 year. He wants to make that in 1 year, at least once in the next 5 to 7 years. And the reason being is he's going to retire at the age of 50. That's a great goal. I'm retiring probably when I'm 60. You have plenty of time. That's 7 years away. And even then, I'll probably stay doing this stuff. I'll just probably step away a little bit more from my full-time business. As much as I don't do it now, I'll step away even more. So what I want you to remember is that's what we deal with in our program, strategy. And then everything from A to Z you need for SEO, web design, hosting, content, all the things we do in our business. Now, if that's not who you are, schedule a strategy call because you're going to need to kind of talk to me to make sure that program's right. Okay. Okay. We can define that goal in that program. Just want to mention it. I'm not going to say much more about it. Again, if you want information about the program, type strategy in the comments, type it in our Facebook group, but schedule a strategy call with me coming up. Now, I'm not going to be able to meet with you this week or next week because I have vacation scheduled, but the following week, if you've already told me strategy, I promise I will hold a seat open until you decide. All right. So back to, I just kind of want to remind you guys, every week we come to this live stream and I try to give you food for thought. I'm not here to teach an entire program. I'm not here to give you everything you need for success. There's no way you could do it in that manner, nor am I willing to do it for free. But what I want you to do is start changing your mind. Start getting in a place where you understand you have to invest in yourself, whether it's in my program or someone else's program. It doesn't matter. But you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your business. And when you do that, you will be shocked at how much your business can give you. Guys, I'm sure you dreamed, like I did, of a business that provided a lifestyle like no other. And if you've watched any of my mindsets, and if you haven't, let me know. I'll tell you what you want to go watch. I've achieved more than I ever dreamed possible, not in money. It's funny how money became less of the goal over time. But what I've achieved over time, in fact, in my freedom, traveling and trips and being able to walk away at 1 p.m. anytime I want to do whatever I want. I talked about it maybe last week in one of the programs. I don't think I talked about it in here, but I might have. You know, we had a unique opportunity to go see Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani practice for a festival they were going to be at, for a concert they were going to give. We got to watch the whole practice live, 4 feet away from them in a private bar that seated 120 people, because we were able to drop everything in an instant to go do that. That to me is worth more than money. That is my why now, my freedom to live life on my terms and actually have a life. So if that's the kind of stuff you're trying to get, that's what this live stream is all about. That every week we come in here to motivate you. It's Monday mindset. We're changing your minds to work your business. Stop making excuses. Stop saying one day and start saying today, right? Start saying today. Today is the day. Today is the day, not tomorrow. Kathy says, yeah, I want an invitation to that next time. Kathy, you would have had to been able to drop everything and drive to Tishomingo, Oklahoma. And the invitation was literally a public invitation on Facebook that if you didn't drive up there quickly you weren't getting there. So yeah, 100% Kathy, I'll meet you in Tishomingo. The next time he does that, it's been, I want to say 3 or 4 years before he did that. He did that 3 or 4 years ago and was having some charity concerts, and you had to pay a couple $100 per person. He only let like 200 or 300 people in, and we were front row, and he hadn't done that again. So, but I promise I'll let y'all know the next time that happens. But that's the life. That's the life I want. That's the life I've dreamed of. The money, look, it's good too. I'm not saying it's not good to be financially independent. That is awesome as well. But the freedom is more valuable than any money on the planet. So remember, guys, this week, we're all about strategy. I'll give you some homework. I want you guys to go back, and I want you guys to strategize right now what the next year looks like. August 1st, 2021 to August 1st, 2022. That's my challenge to you. And then when you have that, if you haven't had a strategy call with me yet, go book one. Go ask for it. Reach out in the group, reach out on Skype, reach out on Facebook, wherever. Let's go over it. Let's see what it looks like for you. And for those of you guys on the fence about August 17th, joining the program, same thing. Why wait? I know I can take the spend. The spend is not a concern. When you come into our programs, don't worry about the spend. It'll be worth the money. You have to have your mind right that you're going to invest the time to work the program. If you can do that, the money's nothing, right? We can make you back that money. As you see, that's the easy part. My programs aren't 100K, so you don't have to worry about that. They're a tiny fraction of that, but it's the time. You have to get in that mindset. And in our program, we do, in fact, solve time problems as well. We spend a large amount of time in the program getting your time right so you can work the program and work your business. All right. Remember, guys, to change your mind will change your business. Thanks for joining us for our Monday Mindset. As always, I appreciate all of you. Have a productive, profitable week, everyone, and I'll see you next week.